What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the shop and we're working on Patch Adams, my Jeep TJ Go-Kart build. So if you are new to the channel, this is my 1997 Jeep Wrangler TJ that I took the tub off and took the fenders, hood, everything, and basically just made a super simple roll cage out of this with a fuel cell. In the last video, I think I had kind of finished up the floor and kind of got a center console mocked in. And since then, I've kind of tore things back out because I've been working on the four-wheel drive lever in there. I think I'm just gonna do something super simple and just put a wrench and just put a wrench on it and just have the wrench as my shifter. I'm not done with the floors just yet, and I'm not done with the firewall. We've just kind of got the bare bones of everything. We are trying our best to keep this as super lightweight as possible with it being strong and safe and simple. So we're kind of going with the simple method on this. And also I deleted the ABS system right there last week as well. Maybe that was the video before last. But anyway, I deleted the ABS system and just put some super simple brake lines. Apparently I didn't tighten some of the fittings up because I have noticed a brake line leak, but you'll have that on those big jobs. But I'm super excited that some parts that I ordered finally showed up. The wheels and tires that I'm gonna be running on this and my steering showed up. I am trying my best to keep this as budget friendly as possible. I really wanted this to be a super simple, cheap rock crawler thing. And I kind of blew my budget on the wheels and tires, kinda. Well, let me show you the steering first. So this is a heavy duty steering kit from eBay. This is basically what Dex is running on his Cherokee that he took to the BleepinJeep Beast Wars. It looks like it's just two pieces of DOM welded to some bungs, and then it comes with some heim joints, a steering stabilizer mount right there. And for the most part, it looks pretty solid. Some of these welds do look questionable, but that's okay. There's some other questionable welds on here as well. But it does come with the heim joints and it does come with the bolts. So we are gonna have to drill out those knuckles and that pitman arm to accept the bolts for the heim joints and stuff like that. I'm probably not gonna be running that steering stabilizer. And the best part about this kit is I want to say it was like $100, $110. So it's really not that bad. It is a heck of a lot more affordable than some of those companies out there that have these same kits for $700, $800. This kit kind of sucks. So I'm gonna go with this. That way if it bends or breaks or something like that, I just go back to eBay and order another kit. But hopefully it'll last a little bit longer. But before I put on the steering, I really want to show y'all the wheels and tires that we're gonna be running on this thing. Mainly because I have to take the tires and wheels off the front to drill out the knuckles and stuff like that. So I don't want to put these old crappy worn out 33s back on. Let me show you what wheels and tires that I'm going with. Oh yeah. So huge shout out to RockTrix for hooking it up with these Beadlocks right here. So RockTrix is a company that I've been working with for a couple of years now. They're super affordable, they work, and they look really good to me also. But as you can see right here, these are a true beadlock, and you can see in there, they've got a groove, so that kind of helps grip onto the tire. And it does come with the grade 8 hardware. These are a 17x9. They are a -38mm offset. They're the gunmetal, and these are the RT115s beadlocks. So you can kind of see everything right there. That's the part numbers. And these are super awesome, and they are going to perform so good on this little go-kart here. Now, as for the tires, you may say, holy crap, those look like little pizza cutters. Well, that's what they are. These are a 35-inch 10-inch wide for a 17-inch wheel Super Swamper SX2s. These are a bias ply. They're not stickies or anything, but they are a bias ply, so they are pretty soft. But I really wanted a go-kart looking tire. I really wanted to get rid of the square looking tire that I have on here. I'm not a huge fan of that. These tires are pretty fun for burnouts and donuts and stuff, but I really wanted a go-kart looking tire, and I think this is going to fit the build absolutely perfect. They are going to balloon out just a little bit on that 9-inch wide wheel, but I think these are going to be absolutely perfect for the rocks, and that way if I decide to ever put tags on this, I can run these on the road. They are DOT approved. And with the Beadlocks, I can run a super ridiculously low air pressure. So, I mean, I could put 5 PSI, 7 PSI, whatever go-kart is going to need. I can run whatever tire pressure I want to. And then if I want to put tags on this, tail lights, mirrors and stuff, I can just put some more air in the tire and run down the road. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw these tires and wheels together. That way, whenever I do the steering and take the steering off, I can just throw the new tires and wheels on and not have to worry about putting them together, you know, to see what they look like. So the Jeep is kind of like a narrow looking Jeep, and I feel like those narrow tires is going to look so awesome. One disclaimer I will say before I install these wheels on the go-kart is that these will not bolt up to a TJ or TJ axles. I am going to have to run a wheel adapter that goes from the lug pattern, the 5 on 4.5, to the lug pattern for these. So it's super cold in my shop right now. I'm going to be putting these tires on the Beadlocks by myself. So I have some tools right here that I'm going to use. Whenever I do Beadlocks, I like to do it right here on my little mat. That way I don't scratch anything. So I'm probably just going to put y'all on a time lapse and go through me putting these Beadlocks in. Beadlocks and these Super Swampers, it's like peanut butter and jelly. This is like my favorite part. And it's not gonna be for everybody, but look at this. They're like little pizza cutters. It reminds me of the Go-Kart tires that you would see at like Tractor Supply or like agricultural stores like in the 90s, where like they were like the little red Go-Karts and they had like super narrow tires and they were really low to the ground. This is exactly what I wanted this to look like. So I don't have them on the front just yet because I have to do the steering, but look at that. Holy crap, it's little baby Swampers. I will say they don't look like 35s, but check this out. That is straight go-kart status right there. I did put this one on. I had to. I don't have the weight on the front, just so you know. That is insane. Like the little kid in me that used to love like riding go-karts in the wet grass in the morning is smiling right now.
Don't let the flame die out!
And these have, I think these have about 12 pounds of air in them. This thing is nuts to me, holy crap. I was getting ready to start drilling these out. I was getting my camera set up and everything, and I realized that I've already reamed these out. So the Jeep that I had put these on, he actually had a steering kit like this one that I put on. So this one's ready to go. I totally forgot that. So if you were putting one of these steering kits on, all you would need is a reamer like this one right here. You can get those off like Amazon and stuff. And you would just drill that out and you could run some Heim joint steering arms. But I totally forgot that I've already done that. So I think all I have to do now is I'm going to ream out this pitman arm because the pitman arm has not been reamed out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put this other 35 on because I don't want to be underneath it when it's on like jack stands and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this 35 on and get the jack stands and the jack out from underneath it. So these are the wheel adapters that I'm using. I had these on one of my Jeeps outside, but just kind of a disclaimer, anytime that you use a wheel spacer or a wheel adapter, make sure you put at least some blue Loctite on the lug nuts. I am not going to because these are going to be coming right back off whenever I put a locker in the front. So I'm just going to put these on for right now, and then once I do the locker install, of course all this has to come back off. Once I do the locker install, then I'll go ahead and put blue Loctite on all of them. So now I have all 4 tires on, so now I feel a little bit more comfortable about working up underneath here. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this pitman arm off. I could ream it out with it being on the vehicle, but there's a radiator and hoses and stuff like that. And I feel like it would just be easier if I just took it off, reamed it out, and then reinstalled it. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. That was pretty loose, so that's cool. So I'm gonna try to get this pitman arm off with this. It looks like the power steering box is leaking, so maybe that will act like a PB blaster or something like that. So hopefully it will come right off and not put up too much of a fight. Not too bad. Yeah. So I've got everything set up here in my vise. I've got my 5/8 reamer, and I'm just going to lube everything up pretty good with some PB Blaster. All right, and just make sure you wear some eye protection. And you'll see how this thing just chews right through it. And as soon as it stops spitting out metal, that's when I know I need some more lubricant on there. And you can use like 3-in-1 oil, but this is the first thing I came across. Like, look at that. Isn't that cool?
Go, Slinky, go!
All right, that's pretty much it. Now I'm just gonna get all the gross metal off of it and we'll get it thrown back on the Jeep. All right, so I have the pitman arm all cleaned up and it's looking pretty good. I just like to put a little bit of anti-seize. And I know I do not need it at all, but I like just to put a little bit on these threads right there. It's just good practice. It's gonna either help me or help the poor individual that has this after me, which would probably be a junkyard. And then I've got a little bit of red Loctite on this nut right here, and something else that's probably unnecessary because it's leaking and it's soaking wet. So I'm probably gonna be replacing this steering box. And I'm probably helping myself in like a week from now. I'm gonna be torquing this down. Of course, you know the first thing I'm gonna bust out is the anti-seize. I like to put this on a lot on these threads. Just because once these seize up, you're done. I'm gonna put just a little bit of anti-seize on these threads as well. That way everything is nice and happy. And that way that jam nut gets a little love too. All right, so upon further investigation, this did not come with enough misalignment spacers. And just because this is pretty much an off-road rig, I'm not gonna be driving it on the highway too terribly much. I just used some old misalignment spacers, and then I actually cut some down because I'm just gonna be using those as spacers because I'm not gonna be running misalignment spacers on that right there because I want that steering pulled up as tight as possible. So I cut the misalignment spacers in half, the ones that I had, and that's gonna bring that tie rod up maybe 1/2 inch, which is, that's a lot to me. So I'm going to be taking one of these spacers that I made and just sliding it into the heim. And just like that. So I'm putting the actual misalignment spacer further up here because I want to get that flex out of it. So if I just had it flat, it would actually bind up, and we definitely don't want that. So this one right here on the other side of the drag link, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to run that right here. And now I'm just going to let that dangle. Now I'm going to take this bolt right there, run that in there so it doesn't fall. And now I can take the bottom heim. What? I need more stuff. This kit kind of sucks. All right, so I cut this misalignment spacer down. I feel like this kit is like super worth it, but like for the price, you really can't beat it. But man, this is really aggravating. I should have just looked at the instructions and I would have realized like you're gonna need a lot more stuff than what's on the picture there. So I'm gonna have to cut this one down as well to bring that steering up just a little bit because there's no point of having it like that. All right, so I did cut down another one of these misalignment spacers just because I want to bring the steering up as much as possible. And if I just put a regular one right there, it would just be pushing the steering down, and then the bolt would be too short. So just advise that if you do buy this steering kit, you're gonna need like a bunch of other stuff. So I have all of the steering on, and if it came with the right misalignment spacers and everything, it would have been super easy, but unfortunately it did not. So I kind of had to dabble into, so I had to go into my personal arsenal of misalignment spacers, which I don't really like, but that's okay. So now really all I need to do is do an alignment and just kind of get everything squared up as good as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want it close for right now. That is the absolute perfect ride height. So it's probably a little bit taller than the banana peel, and actually I know it is, and that's probably a good thing because I'm going to be running this cross member for right now. I'm probably going to be doing a 4-link possibly in the rear, but overall I am super pumped with this ride height. See, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the tubes kind of slant down just a little bit, and that's kind of what I wanted, but the hood is level. So it kind of gives the cage a little bit of an aggressive look. But look at it from the front. This thing looks wild. So I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the 4-wheel drive lever. And I thought about ordering like a cable shifter and this and that and the other. We just decided to simply just put a wrench on it. I am going to be putting a boot on here that's going to stop it from wiggling. But I mean, this is how easy it is to shift it. So you just have to push down and pull up. You can't get much easier than that. We just have a bolt on the shifter itself. So I think what I'm going to do now is I got these little step plates from Moto-Built. You may have seen them sitting there, but I got these little steps from Moto-Built, and I want to put something on the step so that when your boots are real muddy, you don't slip off and hit your knee or something like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld them somewhere right here. I'm thinking about pulling them in just a little bit. That way they're not, hanging out or anything. But I'm probably going to put them maybe like right here, something like that. And I may have to put a little piece of tube or something right there to kind of give it some support. And then I also have these. These are just some angle gussets, and I think, and obviously they have the bottle opener, which I think is kind of cool. But this is going to do two things. It's going to give the cage some design, and it's also going to give me a bottle opener, and I think it looks kind of cool. So I think those are going to go like right there, or right here. So I may have to play around with those. Could put them right there, but I feel like right here, that'd be super convenient. So I'm going to go clean all this up and get this metal prepped for weld. And we'll go ahead and tack these on and see what they look like. So naturally, as soon as I started getting set up to record, it started raining. So sorry if y'all hear the rain noise, but let me kind of show you what I came up with. So like I said, I got the Moto-Built step plate right here, and I pretty much want to make it flush with the edge of this. Like I said, I thought about coming in right here, but my panel, I plan on putting a panel right there. So I think I'm going to offset it and push it out just a little bit. And I'm going to make it to where, if this does hit a rock or a tree, it'll be fine. I don't think this hitting a rock or a tree is going to be the death of this rig. But I do say if I offset it just a little bit, I don't want to break it, jumping in and out. So I want to put something in between this tube and the frame, and I just got a little gusset from Barnes that I kind of did some cutting on. I got to go back and do a little bit more, but my plan is to weld it to the frame and then weld it to this tube, and then I'm going to put this on top of it and weld. See how it has a hole right there for a rosette weld? I'm going to use that rosette weld and weld to this little gusset. So I think this is where I'm gonna put it. I went to the front and then I went to the rear. I measured it and it's even. And then I took a step back and looked from the front and the rear just to make sure that it looked even, because tape measures will lie to you. So your micrometers will never lie. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this on and see what it looks like. I have this welded on and you can see the bluing right there. That's where I welded up underneath it. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna finish welding it. I just don't wanna heat this plate up too terribly hot, but I think this is perfect. I really want to step on it, but I don't want to burn my boots. So here's the gusset, and you can see I did trim just a little bit off to offset for this massive weld that I have right here. But look how sick that looks. I feel like that is awesome. There's another angle of it right here. So I'm going to try to get this squared up as much as I can, and then we'll tack it in. So I did realize that this tube right here is actually pulled in just a little bit, so I had to offset this to make it look like straight, because I want this gusset to look straight, like if somebody's just standing there looking at it. So I feel like this is good. I kind of messed up on my tack weld there, but that's okay. But I'm going to go ahead and fully weld this. I went ahead and painted the frame in this section because it was like raw metal. So I think it looks awesome. I'm so excited. This is so cool. And just so you know, this isn't gonna be like a boring, I'm not gonna just paint everything black. I am gonna be putting some color into this, and I think I've got a color for my tubes, but I don't have a color for the hood. I really want to do something crazy for the hood. So drop in the comments what kind of paint I should do for the hood. I honestly thought about a Trans Am bird on the hood. I feel like that would be awesome. But let me know in the comments what I should do paint and decal wise with the hood. I'm gonna be doing the frame in black, and then I'm gonna be putting some side panels on, and I want my side panels to match my hood, and then I want my tubes to be a different color than that. So it's crazy that I'm already considering paint for this thing, but I reckon I'm not that far away from painting it, because I mean the bones is here. The bones are here. I just need to, start figuring out how I'm gonna wrap all this up. Because I've seen a lot of vehicles in the past that were super cool, but the paint just wasn't there. For me, it was kind of like a boring paint, and I definitely don't want that. I don't want to just paint this whole thing black and then just go like Matt. He painted his frame yellow and his cage black, and I think that's really cool, but I'm not going to be painting this frame anything but black, but I want to do something crazy for the grille and the hood. But I want to give a huge shout out to RockTrix. They have been a channel supporter for a very long time, and I run those wheels on my daily driver Gladiator, and I absolutely love them. I get compliments on those wheels all the time. And if you would like to get some RockTrix Beadlocks for your rig, or even some of their other wheels, make sure that you check out RockTrix.com, and also make sure that you use my discount code 6feetunder and save yourself a little bit of money whenever you order these wheels. Huge shout out to RockTrix. Thank y'all for making this happen. But I appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, hit that like button and make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any further content on Patch Adams here. Me and Matt from BleepinJeep will be going head to head in a Kart Wars sometime in 2026. So if you want to see that, make sure you stay tuned. Anyway, we'll see y'all next time on 6 Feet Under Fab. So I went ahead and painted everything with some paintable paint from locking nut on here. Ow. I know y'all can't see, but it's happening.